Nice. You said we did what? What did you say, Joe, before I switch this over? Had a
Yeah,
milestone? We had a
yes.
milestone?
It's a small milestone, I would say, but yeah, 200 streams on Spotify. So that's awesome.
Dude, I love it. I
We're
love
getting
it.
somewhere.
We are getting somewhere. And just like that, we're getting back to another episode of Bots and
Woo-hoo.
Beers, brother. 18, we had the hidden episode still to come out. I'm proud of
Yes.
us for showing up every week. And I'm something I did notice as well. I didn't notice the small breaks that you were mentioning when I asked you questions, but I did notice the last few times I never even mentioned the drink. So,
Really? Yeah, indeed. I also forgot to mention. So today, let's get started.
yeah,
With the right foot.
there we go.
I'm drinking this one here. Can you see it?
Oh, dude, that looks like my kind of drink right there. Yeah. Ooh,
So
okay.
it's a beer. It's a Weiss beer. So
Mhm.
I don't know how to pronounce it in English, but yeah, it's from. It's not a regular beer. It comes from the wheat.
Okay, let me see. Give me one. I got you on the big screen now. Let me get one more view of it. Okay, nice,
Here.
nice. Following Weiss beer. Okay. What kind of what are you thinking? Is it like a Pilsner? Is it like IPA? What's the
No, it's much.
style?
It's a much softer beer. It's softer than a Pilsen.
Okay.
It's very unique. There's a very unique flavor. So yeah, I really enjoy this kind of beer. What are you drinking, by the way?
I will be drinking a Jack and Coke pre-can. You know me, my man cocktails. Me too lazy to mix it myself. So that's what I'll be doing is drinking a good old Jack and Coke.
I hold on a second. I cannot do two things at once. Cheers, brother.
Cheers, brother. Cheers. Mm,
Awesome. So here's the thing.
yeah.
I grew up. Not no. I didn't drink when I was growing up, but after I started drinking when I was 18, 20 years old, I've never enjoyed drinking spirits,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
I was a beer guy from the beginning,
Okay.
and I always loved to drink beer, to taste the taste of the beer, right?
Hmm.
And to know a little bit more and so on. I didn't like wines. I didn't like spirits. Beer was my thing, and I just got stuck with that, and that was it. Earlier this year, a friend of mine was here. He was at my place for a couple of weeks, and he drinks a lot of things.
Yeah.
One of the things is spirits.
Hmm.
So he bought a few Jack Daniels. He bought some other stuff, and I wasn't drinking.
Yep.
Right, I didn't drink with him because I thought I didn't like. But he went back home and he left some that
Hmm.
he didn't finish.
Yeah.
So one day I got a whisk. I was home. I didn't have a beer, and I saw like a small bottle of Jack Daniels
Yeah.
or something like that. And okay, let me try this. So I got my glass, put some ice, put the whiskey there,
Yep.
wait for a few seconds, and then I took a sip. Man, it's so delicious. I wasted so much time.
You know what? You know the reason I do it too, right? Why is because I don't know, and this is probably a bad thing, right? This is nothing to brag about, but I think that I got to a point with like drinking like beers and stuff to where like even to get a buzz, like I had to kill like a sixer, and it's like, dude, after a six pack, like even if you come across with the buzz, I feel so bloated. I feel like so bloated from drinking that much. But what I like is I can have an old fashioned, or I can have a Jack, or I can have
Mhm.
like a Grand Marnier, which is like an orange, like liqueur, kind of like cognac, and pour that over ice without anything. And
Right.
one drink of those two, and you're all right. I don't have to feel bloated. I don't need no extra sugar. This has, I'm seeing that I'm drinking Jack with Coke, but that's because if I were slinging just Jack straight, it would turn into a hot mic session. You'd have to cut the stream off, right? Eventually.
Ah,
So,
yeah. But the point is, I don't like to feel the buzz anymore.
mhm.
I used to like when I was 18, 20 years.
Yeah.
of age, but now I like to taste.
There you
So
go.
I like to taste, to feel the taste, and to really appreciate the what I'm drinking.
Yeah,
So
yeah, no doubt.
yeah, so quantity doesn't matter for me. I look for quality.
See, and
To,
that, I've been on this journey too lately where, um, that's a difference. There is a difference. Even if you take something like just like whiskey, like Jack Daniels, and even you think that if you go out and you buy the most expensive, like top shelf whiskey, that it's gonna like have a great taste to it. And
Mhm,
sometimes it does, but there's more often than not where, like, dude, it's like the stuff doesn't even taste like I would need a mixer just to like enjoy the taste. But I'm
mhm,
with you, right? Because after kind of switching from just like, whiskey and just different, everybody has their flavors or their, the styles that they go through. But for a long time, for years, I got into mezcal. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with mezcal.
no.
Yeah, so basically, what mezcal is it's like a smoked tequila. What they do is they take the agave hearts and they bury them and they cook them in ground and they let them. They put like different stuff. And there's different ways to actually cook the agave hearts, but they let them basically cook and fire, get the nice scent and smokiness to it for weeks or months, and then they take the agave heart and they process it. Now, different
Mhm.
villages will process it in different ways, but what you get is a very smoky tequila, essentially.
Oh,
And
that's nice.
so I got into what you were mentioning for a while, right? I didn't care about the buzz, I didn't care about the price point. I just went on search for a good tasting drink that didn't require like a mezcal, and I settled on this one version. I think it's the brand is like Del Maguey or something like that. I may be pronouncing it wrong, but they had a very good batch where I found that they roasted it with like chicken, like a chicken breast, like a full, like not even chicken breast, like a full on smoked chicken was like with the tequila as it fermented, and it gave it a really good, sort of like a savory flavor to the smoked tequila. But I agree with you. Sometimes it's just
Nice.
good to have a nice flavor, and
Exactly. Exactly.
sometimes though it's good. A long day is just good to have a drink
Yeah,
too.
and enjoy the moment, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But brother, last week, we finished the show
Yep.
with one promise, right? We had a
Okay.
challenge for today. So I
Oh
prepared
man.
myself for the week. Remember?
No, I didn't. Oh my god, I'm
Oh.
embarrassed. You caught me with my socks down.
So
what was this?
well,
Yes.
to bring a story when it comes to learning another language, right? So
Oh
first
yeah.
for me was English. I don't know what
I'll
we're
never
gonna do
forget my
next.
story. I'll never forget mine. It's impossible to
So
forget. Let me hear yours.
So I already told you like very quickly, but I wanted to bring more details to that story.
Yes.
So
Yes.
and then also to share with the audience because I probably by now everybody knows that I am not a English is not my first language, right?
hmm
I do have some British accent probably.
A little bit of flavor, a little
Just
British
joking
spice.
around, but yeah, I am from Brazil. I speak Portuguese, my mother tongue, and for a long, long years, I studied English, right?
Yeah.
And it was quite challenging to be honest. Took me more than a decade to actually feel really confident when speaking. And I know I
Okay.
still make a lot of mistakes and have a lot of accent, but
Yeah.
that's it, right? I can go much further than this. But anyway, a few years ago, I was applying for a job and I got an interview. And just before I get to the point of the interview, just to give you some context.
Yeah.
Back in Brazil, we don't speak in English at all. Very few people speak. We learn very little English at school,
Oh, really?
and
Okay.
our television like translates almost everything. Actually, they translate everything that they bring from abroad, right? So every movie, every series,
Just
everything is translated.
okay. You don't
There's no
have to.
subtitles.
Yeah, you don't have to learn it if you don't want.
Yeah, so
No.
it's dub, right? And so we don't have that native listening or no. It's just Portuguese. And we do something different as well. So when we got a movie in Brazil,
Uh-huh.
we don't simply translate the name. Most of the times they change it. And
Mm.
now I see it doesn't even make sense the name they give in Portuguese. So
Yeah.
one example is Stuart Little. You know the movie, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
character
The
in the
little
movie.
mouse. Yeah. Yeah.
So if I revert and translate to like the Portuguese name to English, it would be the small Stuart Little,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
So
get it. Yeah.
instead of just saying
Doesn't really
Stuart
make
Little,
sense.
no,
Yeah.
they
The
put
small
something.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
That's
do you know the
funny.
movie, the movie Expendables, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So in Portuguese, in Portuguese, they translated to the word mercenaries. So in
Uh-huh.
Portuguese, it was the mercenaries.
Yeah.
So it's totally different than
That's
Expendables, right?
totally different. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Especially in English. Yes.
Exactly. So I wasn't on this interview, and the guy asked me, "Oh, can you talk about yourself?" And I don't remember the exact question, but I was talking about myself. And at some point, I had this brilliant idea of saying, "Oh, I am expendable."
I'm expendable.
In my mind, I was comparing myself to Sylvester Stallone. Little I knew, right, that
I know, right?
expendable was not quite what I was looking
Not
for.
this, not the same at all. That's so
And
funny, but
then,
that's like you showing up here. It's like I'm a mercenary.
yeah, I wanna finish them all. And well, when I finished the interview, I
Yeah.
started thinking, well, I've never used this word. What exactly mean? So I look it up, and then when I saw what it meant, I thought, oh my god, I shouldn't have used that word. And well,
Dude, I
not to
gotta.
my surprise, I wasn't qualified, not qualified. I wasn't selected for the next
Wasn't
round
no
of interview.
surprise there. I'm expendable. Please hire me. No, dude. So I got two jokes for you on that because the other one was from the previous story that I said I'll hold to this one, but the other one is the first one I'll say is tied into what you said, right? In this weird way that languages translate. So a couple of years ago, I think it was back almost over a decade now. It's crazy, maybe like 15 years ago. I went to Japan on like a military trip and very impressed with the culture. And when I started researching how hard Japanese was to learn, and they said for Americans, Japanese and like Farsi is like the two hardest languages, and Mandarin is also up there. But they have like different categories. They said it's super hard for English speakers to learn. And so I was like, challenge accepted. I want to kind of learn this language. And long story short, I don't. Maybe I know just a pinch. Choto Nihongo Hanashimasu. But outside of that, as I was learning, I come into those situations where I find out, like I found out these weird translations. So let me tell you a couple of words in Japanese, right? So in Japanese, your fingers are called yubi, right? They're called yubi, right? Which is nothing weird about that. Now, when you talk about your legs, when you speak of your legs
Mhm.
are called ashi. It's like ashi, like ashi. It's like that's your legs, right? So when you think about the legs as appendages, and then you have your toes, could you guess what like how they say toes? What so how they
No,
say
no idea.
yeah, so in Japanese, how you say toes are ashi no yubi. Now, no is sort of like a possessive, means like you own it, so it's like the blank of the legs. But ashi no yubi, if you directly translate it into English, what it means is it means the fingers of your legs' fingers. That's the literal translation. Ashi no yubi is like your legs' fingers. And it's so funny, like to me, it just was like, this is so weird. And when I brought it up to a native Japanese speaker, I was like, hey, is this weird to you that that's what it means? And it was like they were like shocked. They'd never thought of it in the English context of it being the fingers of your legs, and they thought it was hilarious. Like they'd never like to them, it never even sunk in that that's what, to us, the finger legs. But yeah, so my funny story about my lack of understanding in the language was, you know, trying to the way I approached like learning is I had a sort of a memorization system called GMS that I was using at the time, and it was very effective. But I knew that the things that you wanted to learn first were like small talk and phrases. And at the time, I quit smoking cigarettes. Like I'd been smoking cigarettes for years, like an old military habit, and I gave it up. And so I started chewing gum. And so one of the things, I feel like it's not a weird thing in America. Like you see somebody chewing gum, you're like, hey, can I have a stick of gum? It's not like if you know the person, right? You're like, hey, do you mind? And sometimes people even offer without you asking. And so I thought, instead of, one of the things that you could ask them, is for, a piece of gum. So I was like, I looked it up and I was like, how do you say gum in Japanese? And I was like, okay, gumi. So how you ask people for stuff is you'll say whatever it is and they're like kudasai, so which is like please. So you say onaka sueta, or I'm hungry, I want some food, kudasai. Could you open the door, kudasai? And so I asked for gum. I'd look around and be like, hey, you gonna have some gum? Gumi kudasai. And I was just getting like weird looks. And they kind of, and I was like, oh no. And so, I never thought of it. And I probably asked at least a dozen or so people when I was learning the language. I asked them this question. And one of the people that I know at the time, I remember we were out doing something and I asked them for some gum, and they were a Japanese speaker. So I was like, gumi kudasai. And they're like, look shocked. And they're like, what do you mean? And I was like, gum, you were chewing some gum. Can I have some gum? And there was like, that's not what that means. Like gumi means you're like your gums. Your gums. And so I was like literally walking around asking people for their gums. Like, can I have your gums, please? Which is also weird because it sort of in a weird way, it can translate like, could you give me a kiss? Like, because that's like in a weird kind of way, it could almost be construed like that if like depending on who it's coming from. Yeah. So I walked around for weeks asking people if I could like have their gums. So I feel you. I've been in the same boat learning languages and not getting the context accurately.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, yeah, learning a new language is definitely a challenge.
Yes.
Sometimes a lifetime challenge because we never stop learning, right?
Bro, so there's a number out there, right? I think that they say it's like 1,000 to 3,000. There's a number basically where you have to understand so many words in order to have a base vocabulary in that language, right? Yeah. Until you know at least that many words, you won't be able to speak the language effectively. And then I know you've learned languages, so you get this. After a certain level of vocabulary, then it's all about actually structuring the sentences effectively, right? Because you'll mess it up or you won't get the translation. And it's so weird. I think that thing is fascinating. That's why I try to learn another language, is because the brain and how it works and like how you're natively wired to understand the language from an age. And I understand this perspective quite a bit because of my wife being part Filipino, part Chinese. So with her family growing up and with their mother being around, right, the households generally speak Tagalog, like they speak the Filipino tongue. And so even though the kids aren't like formally trained, like if you go and see some of my nieces and nephews who are like 10, 12, 13 years old, they never learned that language in school, right? But they still speak both because they grew up hearing it, right? They never had formal education, but they just, I guess it's repetition. I just think that's cool. I think language is fascinating.
Yeah.
Have you seen Arrival?
Well, huh?
Have you seen the movie Arrival?
Not that I can remember.
Dude, why? So you gotta watch that movie. So just if just on the language, because you've learned another language, and it must have interested you enough to take the massive effort, because I know what it is to like try to learn something. So Arrival is like a sci-fi movie where the whole like the aliens come down and the woman's like speaking to them. And basically the context of the movie is they're, humans are trying to figure out what the aliens are saying, because they flash like signs and stuff. It's like almost like hieroglyphic, like images or whatever. And so they're trying to figure out the language. But then the concept of the movie is it's like language actually has a much bigger impact on evolution than you could realize. And that's just kind of concept. So Arrival,
Nice.
highly recommend you kind of check it out.
I will check it out. But dude, changing gears. Did you?
Let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. So, did you see it? Well, I think it was today or yesterday. The MVP was officially the 2025 UiPath
Yes.
MVP program was officially released.
I'm glad that you said that, because
Nice.
if anybody's listening, if anybody is interested in that, go apply. I'm glad that you mentioned that. So the UiPath MVP program is open. Don't hesitate. Don't think that you don't cut the mustard. Don't think that your profile isn't worthy. Make the process tell you no, right? Put your application in. I don't know what you have to say about this, Joe, but I think that personally, like, it can change your life. I think that it can, like, you know, the people you meet, the stuff you learn, it's just, and it's going to stick with you. I want to get your, go ahead. Sorry.
No, before I probably know what you're going to ask is how this has changed or something on those lines. But before that, so today when you saw, I posted on LinkedIn.
Yep.
And one guy, he reached out to me asking about the MVP. So he sent him DM on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
He was asking, what is the criteria, right? How do they select? And I think that's relatively subjected, right?
Yeah.
Because as far as I know, and I just want to get this word out so people that are listening and are interested, they have some more knowledge about the program as a whole.
I'm glad.
But as far as I am concerned, and what happened to me the years that I got it, what I understand is there's no strictly defined criteria saying, oh, you have to do this, to do that, reach to this point, or I don't know, if you have a YouTube, you have to have like this many thousands of views or so on and so forth. Or do you have to have the certification for this, for that? Do you have to be an expert? No, it's much easier than that in terms of the qualification, right?
Yep.
Or the criteria. My understanding is what matters the most is your contribution. So it doesn't matter how much you know. Of course, you have to have some skills, right? UiPath skills, but how much are you contributing to the community, right?
Yeah.
That's the question. That's the major question. So what kind of work are you doing? Are you contributing to your local chapter? Are you sharing your knowledge, doing blog stuff, writing on forum? Are you creating videos? There are so many people. Man, I cannot compete. It's not a competition, right? But you get my point.
No, yeah,
so
you're right.
Folks are doing like 0 to Hero series, and they are 130 videos already. Oh my god!
Right? Yeah, right. No, so, dude. Yeah.
What's your take on that?
No, I mean, you. I'm glad you asked before I grab the cup again. I mean, you are spot on. Here's my impression, right? I don't think they're not there, and you and I think you can agree, right? They don't give us the playbook. We don't know. They don't tell us. It's like once you're in there, they don't say, "Hey, here's the criteria." So it's not like, you know, we're really just giving everyone our assumption. But I'll tell you this: it's definitely what is your contribution. I also think that they'll take it on like what your aspirations are and what you want to do, as long as you're showing a trend. But I'm gonna go on a limb and say actually the barrier to compete for a slot is fairly low. Just to be considered is fairly low. But I think that it's also a matter of the right personality type, right? You have to be here for the right reason. I've noticed that the community managers are very good at keeping people out who want to get in for the wrong reasons. I personally have known people who are very well, they look very good on paper. Let's just say that. They look very good on paper when it comes to some of the metrics. Maybe they have, I know somebody, maybe it's got 10,000, 20,000, 40,000 subscribers on YouTube. And they got denied. They applied and got turned down. Yeah. And so I know that there are people out there that have influencer, that they have a big social following and they got turned down. And so from when I've had private conversations, because this kind of stuff interests me, and when people reach out and I hear about stuff, like I ask questions, and And a big part of it's like personality too. You know, like if
Kind.
they see like, hey, you know, Joe's not here to help the community, like he's actually here because he wants this badge so he can go get a promotion, you know, or he can, you know, stick out or whatever. Like,
Get more
yeah,
followers.
get more followers. If you're here for clout, like they don't care. Like they'll notice that. They don't care about that. But if you genuinely care about the community and you're contributing, like you said, it don't have to be like, it does not have to be Hollywood quality. You know, grab
Exactly.
your cell phone, hit record, and publish it.
Yeah,
You
you don't
know,
have to be Jeremy's quality.
oh my god, hey man, that's a function of just lots of practice, lots of practice. I love it
Yeah.
too. Passion. No, I
No,
get
but
it.
definitely. And I remember when I applied the first time, I did. I don't remember if we talked about this, but I
Yeah,
didn't even know about the MVP program. And then I saw on LinkedIn, like, just happened, right? Is happening right now. The applications were open. I didn't even know that we could apply for MVP. I thought was like we would be selected by
nominated or
someone.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nominated. That's
yeah.
the word. Thank you very much. And then I saw, okay, let me apply then. At the time, I was doing some Udemy courses, and I'm not so proud of them, to be honest. But they are still out there.
We're gonna
Um,
revamp them with the newest stuff.
I have to redo from scratch then. But and then I remember talking to Vibor. Like Vibor interviewed me the first time, and of course he saw the how many people were getting to the courses and the enrolling to the courses. And I think I have to agree with you. I think what he saw was more potential
Hmm.
than numbers, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
man, I wouldn't buy my own courses, to be honest, at that time.
yeah. Hey, man,
So
no, everybody's got to be a salesman, right? I think that that's an important quality in life, right? Not even just the MVP program is having just enough ability to believe in yourself, but also having a little bit of sales ability to like pitch yourself and what you,
yeah,
because I agree. There's no way, maybe even with what you had, that Vbor would have bought in unless you were selling yourself, right? I'm sure
yeah,
you fought to like, be competitive when they interviewed you, right? You
yeah,
shared what you had. So, I mean, and then, I mean, who back then too, like a couple of years ago, like very handful of people were making Udemy courses, right? Like not very many.
yeah,
So, I mean, you're talking like a fraction. So what you did is impressive to take the effort to put it out there, right? And
yeah,
it's not a small feat.
yeah. But see, what I want to say is you have to find what you want to do and what you
Yeah.
like to do, right?
Hmm.
Because I did those courses. They taught me a lot. I learned a lot with, just with the process of doing those courses. I
Yeah.
would do entirely different, but they're done. I learned a lot, but I have never done anything like that anymore.
Hmm.
So I don't enjoy as much as doing the podcast, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't enjoy
Ooh.
as much as writing a blog post, for
Yeah.
example, right?
Dude, I'm glad you said that because he just hit on a gold mine when it comes to anybody who's listening and trying to get into this program. The key here isn't necessarily what you brought to the table only, right? It's so many factors, but what he mentioned is find where you can contribute. And he'll tell you right
Absolutely.
now, like he said something about the videos I make, but what you'll also know is they're not tutorials, right? They're not trainings. And from my perspective, what I did is I looked across all of the other MVP profiles. I looked over the people who I know. There's another thing, Joe. I bet you could I guarantee you, if you just look through our LinkedIn, if you just look through the feed, you can identify the people who, for the last 12 months, have been competing to try to get into the program. You can look
Right.
at their activity, you can see what they've been posting, and you're like, dude, this guy, he's building the resume so he can try to get into the MVP program. And the beautiful thing is just find out where you can contribute, right? I hope that when Joe and I reapply, because you're not just given MVP and it's in
Forever.
perpetuity. Yeah, it's not like
Yeah.
you just don't. We have to apply just like everybody else. And I hope that we both get in. But what did we do in the last 12 months? We tried to figure out where we could provide value. And this is where it's at. We have thought leadership. We have two different ways of viewing, two different perspectives, and then we're sharing these thoughts. We're bringing on people we know to collaborate and see whether our shit makes sense or not, right? And I think that, and that is your call sign. It doesn't matter. I don't be the guy that's the YouTube short person, right? Just figure out you could be the guy that's the day in the life of a whatever, an architect. Figure out where you can contribute to the community, and then do that, right? And I hopefully, one thing that I hope that comes out of this podcast, Joe, is I hope that we look back and that people come to you and I and they approach us and they say, hey, what you guys did inspired me to take a shot and try it. I feel like that, even I'd rather hear somebody say that than said, oh man, that methodology you taught me, man, saved the day. I don't give a shit. That's good. I'm glad if I share something where people learn and it helps them at work. But what I aim to do is share knowledge and hopefully motivate people to not be scared, and take their shot. And so,
exactly.
Yeah.
Because we are both experimenting here, right?
Yep.
We're doing something that we have never done before.
Mhm.
We both wanted to do. We didn't know how to do. We started from scratch. I don't watch the first episode.
Don't
I don't encourage people to do so. But what I'm saying is, we have to put ourselves out there, right?
Yes.
And find what we like to do. Mm-hmm. That is going to help somehow.
Yeah.
Right? You and I remember one of the conversations we had before we started, and I like that very much. Like we kind of synced. We said it to each other, man, I don't know how to create these videos anymore, these tutorials, and I don't even if I knew. I don't want to go there because there's so many people doing that much better than I could even imagine doing, right?
Exactly.
If I wanted to get to the point where they are right now, I would have to study like for months.
Yeah.
And when I got there, they would be much further. So there's no way. It's not a competition, but like if you start doing something, you have to have some kind of you have to foresee yourself in the future doing this.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see myself doing tutorials like zero to hero. Man, if I wanted, I Google UiPath tutorial, whatever that I needed, I will find tons of videos on YouTube. Yeah. I just don't want to do that, again and again and again.
Yeah. I'm glad that I think that's another beautiful sort of combination that we have between you and I is, we're not young men anymore in the sense that our ambition is guided in an unbounded way, and we're okay because in that sense, you just have plenty of time in front of you. Like something about aging and just going through life, you learn certain stuff, and I feel like you and I are in a spot where we kind of know what we want that to be. Now, there's a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. You probably censor me there, but that's the name of the book. But the premise of it is what are you like? The actual question here is not what are you super passionate about, because I'm telling you, go try it. And even if I gave you a solid paycheck to do it, most people, you go do your passion, you're going to find out how quickly it's not what you want to do for a day job. Because as soon as you start doing your passion every day, that's what it is. It's a day job. And if you don't enjoy what you're doing, you're not going to put out 150 hero to zero videos. You're not going to get there. You won't make it. You're going to get to 20 and you're going to be like, this is not what I want to do. I don't enjoy it. I'm doing it. And you're going to be constantly questioning yourself. And so that is true, right? And there's nothing wrong with trying, right? You're never going to figure that out. I mean, I had to do that, Joe. I literally, after selling my first startup, thinking about all the stuff that I could do and even retiring, which feels like a death sentence. But, I was like, hey, I'm going to, stream or game or I'm going to do whatever, dude. Do you know what it's like to get up and just stream a video game for like 8 hours? Like you could think that would be enjoyable. I don't care whether you got like 2 people viewing you or 10, but like, I promise you, like you go chase your passion and there's nothing wrong with you doing that. But I promise you that people tell you to go chase your passion, it's going to get you rich. Like that's somebody who is already rich. They're already rich telling you that. It's not somebody who's grinding. Like, dude, you got to figure out stuff that you like to do. I went on a tangent, but you kind of popped me into that when you were like, because it's such a valid point. Like, find out what you enjoy doing. Don't do something for the sake of doing it because you think you're going to get here or there, because it won't last. It definitely won't last. Your motivation won't.
Exactly. Yeah. By the way, I had to look it up. The guy that the Zero to Hero series, and his name is Jay.
Yeah,
I want to give him a shout out because, man, someone that does like over 100 videos on something must like it, right?
So
It must
yeah,
be like, it must be something that he really enjoys doing it, because it would be so much torture. Torture, is this a right
yeah,
word?
yeah.
Yeah,
No, you're right.
I
You're
believe
right.
so.
Yeah, it would be torture. You're
Yeah,
right. You're right.
to do something for so many times that he doesn't like it, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if so. This is on our Excel, but I know we haven't checked it in a minute. But he will be our lost episode guest, and the whole discussion will be sort of around that topic because
Oh, really?
yeah. So one of the things, if the listeners might, and Mo had a very good point, I have the stream deck, I need to make a bleep button for myself. I have one, I could do that, it's funny. But so what the thing is that you and I have some plans that I haven't even talked to you about, and I've been coming up with the construct for you and I to write a book together. And then we're gonna tag your friend, the Starship Pineapple.
Coconut.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just making a joke
David.
because I forgot the coconut. I was making the pineapple joke. Sorry, but I want to get some of his creative insight because I have this idea. But one of the things I want us to work together on is actually a concept I call paywalls, and I think that there's stuff like that, right? First of all, you're right. You have to love it to kind of grind through it. But there's just certain things in life to like get you past certain levels, like you just have to do, right? You just have to kind of accomplish. And so
Mhm.
there's some that you can avoid, some that you can get through quicker. But here's the thing, Joe, like if you think about it, like let's say that you didn't have any idea what RPA was. You're picking it up, you're downloading it for the first time.
Mhm.
If you wanted to get good at it, think about how much better you would be if you went through the process of creating 120 videos over it. Just the effort of like trying to understand it and like coming up with the concepts you're going to put in the next one or this one. I mean, some of that's
Yeah.
obviously you're going to be pulling from people you know, but I mean, just the effort itself, how long would it take you if you didn't do that? How long do you think it would take you to get that same kind of knowledge you gain in trying to
Man.
learn?
No, absolutely. Can I share something real quick?
Yeah.
You may have noticed the last 2 weeks, week and a half, 2 weeks, I am more active on LinkedIn, right? I am
Hmm.
writing more.
Yeah, I
And
like
that
him.
that is a conscious, deliberate
Hmm.
effort, I
Yep.
think.
Yeah, that's
My
right.
words might be rambling, but
No, you're spot
you know,
on.
I
Deliberate.
am I am putting myself, I am making a commitment to myself to be more active.
Yeah.
Um, and just by having to write at least 3 times a week, just writing a short post is, I'm not talking about 250 words, an essay. No, a short post with like 10 to 15 lines, like short lines, just to write those lines. Man, I have to, I, ha- I have to think a lot,
Yeah.
and I have to sometimes study a little bit,
Hmm.
because I don't want to put myself out there saying shit, right? I want
Yeah.
to be accurate. I want to
Yeah.
be right on the pot, even though I'm giving my opinion sometimes, but it has to be based on somewhere, right? On something. So just by doing that, I'm learning already. I
Hmm.
imagine this guy doing 131 videos. I'm
Hmm.
just checked.
Yeah.
131 videos on Zero to Hero UiPath. Man, he must be a master by now. Even
Yeah.
though, let's suppose just for a moment, he knew nothing.
Hmm.
He knew
Hmm.
nothing at all.
Yep.
By the time that he did the 130, the 131st video, man, he must know a lot. There's no doubt about it, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, and what if I were to tell you that one, when he started that, he had no experience. Two, he wasn't even in the RPA space and he was trying to break in. What do you think about that?
Yeah. And I saw that he just got a job at Wonderbots, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Correct. Correct. Correct.
So
Yeah.
he's doing great. So see,
Very
there
impressive.
is opportunities out there.
Yeah.
You
And then he
just
said,
have
keep
to.
it up too. He said he's liking your active posts. I do too. I love reading it, man. I'm trying to, I got to get you, you make sure I have the notifications on just in case somebody's trying to
Nice.
like it.
And,
But Vinny's on
and,
it too.
and can I tell you something? Today,
Mhm.
earlier this morning, I saw the post from the UiPath community, right, saying
Yeah.
that the MVP 2025 was
Open.
officially on, and then
Apply.
yeah,
Mhm.
I commented, right, this is the way, and I put the GIF or the
I saw you.
Mandalorian,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I see this is something we do, and I'm open here, so I commented and I thought, man, is someone going to like that comment? And I was I was waiting, always checking, and then finally I saw you thumbs up. Yes.
So, I'm always there for you, brother. No, I love it, man. I love the engagement. Keep it up. You know, you and I talked about this last week, man. It's just that there's a need for more positivity in the world. You know what I'm saying? And like, dude, I don't know what it is about the male persona, but I feel like historically it's been hard for just like brothers to like just high five each other. You know what I'm saying? There's something weird about, I don't know if it's the art of competition or evaluating yourself against others, but I feel like it's such a uncommon thing and it needs to be brought back. It's just like support, dude. And not like a fake ass clap, you know what I'm saying? Like off, F that, is that, whatever. I should have been me. But like genuine, happiness for like people who are growing successful. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that like, people who do 150 videos, not even, you start, you're not even in the space. You know what I'm saying? But like, you're like, dude, I'm going to write my own, story and I'm going to get in
Yeah,
there.
my own destiny.
Yeah. And like, dude, I fundamentally believe, right? I think that we're in this situation where there's about to be the explosion in business and in productivity using AI that our tiny little brains can't even like grasp right now, right?
Yeah,
I
agree.
really, I really think that we're right at the edge of where someone like Jeremy and Joe can literally once in a very short amount of time we can build an entire business with just AI, or at least 80-90% of it to once the part that faces the customer, it sounds like a real person when they call, to tracking orders of whatever we do. And I'm thinking that just since I don't even have to learn to code, as somebody just getting into the field, if I can just use my normal text, the opportunities that will open up to people that are just normal human beings who just recognize a business problem in their hometown and being able to build an AI for it, I think that
Yeah.
you're going to see this crazy explosion, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. And speaking about developers and technical
Mm.
skills, I recently saw a podcast about the future of the developer role
Oh yeah,
with the AI,
interesting.
and I already mentioned this guy in the show in the past,
Mm.
Matthew Renz.
Yeah.
I always get his name wrong and
Mm.
apologize for that if he's seeing this, but he's AI researcher. He's an amazing guy. He puts out there very, very good content about AI,
Yeah.
and he brought some insights on what's gonna be like for developers in the future, right? And one of the things that he said, it makes total sense to me, was this: do you know or do you remember about assembly or COBOL?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Very old tech.
you
Cobalt. Yeah.
remember, but you don't see anymore, right?
No.
You
No.
don't see
Old
people.
older businesses.
You don't have friends that
No.
develop programs in COBOL or assembly.
And even
I
then
used to
too,
have,
yeah, even
yeah,
then too, like, oh, it's like when I even hear about it, it's older coders joking about, it
yeah.
already being gone or old. Yeah.
So yeah, assembly. I don't know how much is still there. COBOL, I know for a fact that some banks. I know that some of the banks still use on the mainframes
Hmm.
for very heavily. have processing computing some
processing
back,
need or
yeah,
whatever.
process, yeah, in
Hmm.
the background. I believe, actually, not that I know, I believe they still do. But assembly, I personally believe there's nothing much out there.
Yeah.
But anyway, what I want to say is, when programming languages like C++, Java started, you know, rising
Uh-huh.
on the sky. If those guys that were working with COBOL or assembly, they just, oh no, I don't want to learn that. Right? They got defunct,
Hmm.
essentially. Right?
Yeah.
They got outdated, and in some time they lost jobs, they lost perspectives, and the whole nine yards.
Hmm.
And what I see, my perspective is, if we don't look it up, or if don't uh, if we just close our eyes for AI,
Yeah.
that's probably what's going to happen to us as well,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
today we know UiPath, we know RPA. I personally know a few other languages, but they are now outdated,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
cannot rely on them anymore for a living, right?
No, it's so true. So true. I need to go grab another beer. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
One
Go.
second. Actually, I'm lying. I have to go pee. But I'm going to say I have to get a beer so I don't sound like an old small man bladder. So
I will get my dog downstairs
there
too.
we go. I'll be right back.
Me too.
I am interested in what the future state of developer rules are. I told a group today that agents and LLMs would be the operating system of tomorrow. It wasn't going to be Windows. It's not going to be SAP, Oracle. I believe you're going to be talking to an agent. And some of the feedback I got was, yeah, agents will be in the background and they'll be accessing SAP. They'll be accessing Salesforce. But I'm thinking, like, the way that technology is progressing, do I need those programs if my agents can access my data? I have this weird, curious notion. He's back, ladies and gentlemen! I grabbed my beer and I'm my Pavlov's dog. I ordered some Taco Bell tonight. I don't know why. It's gonna. I don't know. It's probably gonna kill my stomach later. But I just wanted some Taco Bell. And so
Taco Bell.
Yeah, they had this weird cheese-it like
You
tostada.
like Mexican food?
I love Mexican food. Yes, I do.
Me too. It's very, not that it's very, but here in Canada is the most close that I get to Brazilian food. So
Oh,
yeah,
really?
I do enjoy some tacos, because inside of the tacos you have beans, rice, salad, and then some protein. So essentially, if you ask most of the Brazilian people what is the most popular, what do you eat, 5 days out of 7 in a week, they will say rice, beans, and some protein.
Yeah.
That's the most traditional food in Brazil.
Man, and that's Taco Bell's not. Don't get me wrong, it's not Mexican food, but I enjoy like authentic Mexican food, Puerto Rican food, Brazilian foods. What I've had, the limited I've had, but
Brazilian food. Okay, tell me more about that. What have you had?
Um, to be honest, I wouldn't even know the name. Like it was on a trip. Like
Yeah.
I was at this, I went on a vacation once and I was there and I was visiting and I was doing, something like an excursion. If you've ever been on a cruise, like they have these excursions where you like pay for a package and then when you port, you go do things. And
Hmm.
so I was staying at like a resort and I took an excursion and I went to this, um, it's not even like a. I can't even. It's not even like a. I don't even know what you call it. It was like just a big ass farm, like a big ass farm, and they were making stuff. But
Hmm.
they also had like, I think like coca plants, and they had some other
In
plants there.
Brazil?
I can't remember when I've been in coca plants. I can't remember what it was. They were just like big plants, and I. Long story short, like I was the event. I just walked around this farm for the whole like half a day, and then they
Mm,
served us lunch, and it was
okay.
delicious. It was like something that you would eat there, but it's not like I mean they told us what it was, but I have no idea. So that's the only one time I could
Oh,
say I was like I feel like it was authentic Brazilian food.
oh, that's nice.
I was like I
Yeah.
can't remember.
So we are Brazil as a whole is so big. It's not as big
Yeah,
as
sorry, Vinny. There you go. Thank you.
what what what
Um,
what what? I missed that.
yeah, he said. I guess not coca. Talking about the wrong plants. No, I'm sorry. I was the versus chocolate plants versus non chocolate plants.
Non chocolate.
Brazilian
No, I got
steakhouse.
it.
Oh man, dude, I need to go to that.
Oh,
Mo's getting me
yeah,
off track.
Brazilian steakhouse is probably the best in the world, man. You go to the what we call in Portuguese we say churrascarias.
Yeah.
So it's a steakhouse, but it's not a steakhouse in the same sense as American steakhouse, where you go, you select your steak, and then they bring to you that steak, right? So
Mm.
Brazilian steakhouse, you go, you sit, and there will be a queue of waitress
Yeah.
with the
So that's how they
steaks.
do it here. That's how they do it
Yeah.
here.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Not here in Canada.
Oh, bro. So, dude, I don't think, Mo, did I tell you, have I mentioned in there before, like my experience with the Brazilian steakhouse? Did I tell you about I must not, if you don't remember,
No,
like you didn't hear that.
no.
So, I was, before I became a military officer, I was enlisted. And like, let me tell you, like soldiers, they don't get paid very much. Like you
Mhm.
live below paycheck to paycheck. And I was out with some friends and they were a little bit better off than I was at the time. And we went to a Brazilian steakhouse. And I didn't know how it worked. So you're telling you, like, you kind of understand with the waiters and stuff. So I'm sitting in this restaurant. I don't really understand how everything's working, but it's a fancy one. And they brought you like potatoes and veggies and
Yeah,
buns and
yeah, yeah.
stuff. So I'm kind of eating that stuff. I'm thinking, I'm looking at my account. I'm thinking I got like 30, 40, 50. I can't remember how much I had. I just know it wasn't very much. I didn't have much and I didn't know how much I could spend on this meal. And so I remember they started coming through with the meats and they came through and they were like, it told me about the little cards. Like if it's green, if you want more food and
Yeah.
it's red, if you don't want any more
Yeah,
food.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, okay, cool. So I have that thing on green. I'm like flipping it over red as soon as they come back. And then I'm thinking to myself as they come through, I'm thinking like, dude, they got to have they're either really smart or they have some very good system because how the hell do they remember and how many slices of this meat and that, how they're going to calculate it at the end? And so and then to me, I'm trying to
Uh,
calculate it. I'm thinking like, dude, how much is that? 5 pieces. So I'm like $5, $10. I'm trying to do the math against my bank account. And like, I mean rolls, I mean extra mashed potatoes, trying to get full, not acting weird. And then when I'm like at the end, I had never been. And at the end, I'm thinking like, hey, I'm like, how do we settle the bill? Like, how does the thing? And they're like, oh, it's a flat fee, all you can eat. I'm like, I was like, dude, I
oh
wasted
my
it. I'm
god,
like,
you
bro,
didn't
I
know.
wasted it. I could have been getting so full. I'm over there getting full on potatoes and rolls.
But man,
Oh,
it's so funny because
I
I
was counting
remember
the pounds. I thought they
I
were counting the
remember
pounds of the meat. Sorry.
I
Yeah.
remember it was not the first time that I went to one of these, but it was the first time that I went to one like fancy one.
Yeah.
And I was like you living paycheck by paycheck.
Yeah.
and I didn't even know all my friends. No, 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 let's go let's go to this
You're like,
place.
oh, I don't
Okay, let's
understand.
go.
Fine,
I
yeah,
didn't even
right.
knew the price, right? So I
Mm.
got there, and man, I was full to the bones. And then my the guy brought the check. When I saw the price, I remember the price tag was 38 bucks. Let's say
Hmm.
38
Yeah,
bucks.
yep.
But this was 2006. Was a lot of money, man. Was
It's
a
like
lot of money.
$40.
Yeah, and I just my thought was, oh my god, I should have eaten more.
Yeah, I should, yeah, right for that price. That's what
Yeah,
I thought
but
when I saw the price. I'm like, dude, this is
but
all you can eat.
but you know one thing. Oh, my camera just okay. But one thing is funny because this restaurants they
Yeah,
have some kind of hierarchy. Oh my god, some words are so weird.
hierarchy.
Hi- yes, that's
Mm.
it. Meaning in a sense that the best steaks, it's always the oldest guy. It has to be a guy,
Oh,
right?
really? Ah, see, I
Yeah,
didn't know about this. Damn.
and then
There's codes. There's
they
levels.
exactly. There's some subtle codes that only who knows, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then the younger boy, he's going to serve like chicken wings, you know, things
Damn.
like that, like the most common
Okay.
proteins. And then the ladies, they're going to serve the pastas or the potatoes or the salad. If
I
that,
didn't even. That's interesting. Yeah. So
yeah,
you know when the really good steak's coming out. You know, it's like, hey, listen, I've got to
yeah.
get that.
If that's the oldest guy in the house, that's better be good.
It's gonna be good. I only saw him once.
you you will never see the oldest guy serving like salad. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
bro. You said this. Now I'm gonna have to go to a Brazilian steakhouse at some point. Do I wonder?
Yeah,
Oh, hey, there we go. When we go to Forward in Vegas, we got to find which one of the vendors is doing the Brazilian steakhouse dinner. Go to one of those.
yeah. Oh, for sure. And I believe there has to be some steakhouse, Brazilian steakhouses in Vegas.
They have
We
steak.
might go
Oh, so
there.
I ate
Yeah,
at a steakhouse the very first night I was there with a buddy. I took him and I went out. We got steaks, and it was
yeah.
okay. I wasn't. It was good. I like that. The best steak I ever had was at Capital Grill. I don't know if you've ever been there, but that
But
was
by the way,
yeah.
someone in the chat just said the cheese bread. That's for sure. Yeah, that's the lady. That's the ladies that are gonna bring the cheese bread.
The cheese bread. Dude, the cheese bread is good. I love the cheese bread. The garlic potatoes. I'll do it
Yeah,
again. It's been a minute.
garlic bread as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, there's so many different cuts. We say cuts, right? It's the different cuts, the different
Excuse me.
style. Sometimes it's the same meat, same part of the animal, but we prepare in a different way. So
Yeah.
man, there's so many variations. Brazilian, yeah, someone is saying the picanha.
Yeah,
Wow,
so I've actually
picanha.
dude, that's one of the best.
Oh,
I saw food trucks. There's already in San Antonio, they're doing like Brazilian steakhouse food trucks. And that's like a staple, right? Like if you don't have that, like that's not like it's not even like a Brazilian steakhouse
you know, one of the good things of
food
Canada
truck.
is that picanha is not popular here. So
Oh, really?
Costco, yeah, no, not at all.
Hmm.
Nobody knows.
What about
And
Barilla? They eat over that too or no?
which one?
Like Barilla? Like the
I
like
don't
flex
know that
steak,
one.
it's like a shredded with the consomme broth. That's like it's real popular here.
No, I've never seen that. But
Hmm.
what I want to say about picanha is that it's cheap here, so I can buy picanha. It's not as good as Brazilian picanha, but yeah, it's good. It costs sometimes less than chicken
Mm.
here in Canada.
That reminds me of the lobster meme, right? Where like if you see the history of lobster, it was like peasant food originally. It was
Oh,
originally
really?
like originally like lobster was considered peasant food, and like they would, they wouldn't even like really sell it, and then they started serving it on trains, and it just happened to be serving it to rich people, and they realized that rich
You
people
like
liked
it?
it, and it became like a fancy food. Yeah, back in the
Yeah.
railroad days. That's funny. It's like it'd probably be in America. You could probably charge 2x price. Throw it in a Brazilian steakhouse place. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've seen too many kitchen nightmares. I've always wanted to start a restaurant, but I don't. I feel like it's the
I love
dumbest
that
thing to
show.
do. Like, oh, kitchen
Yeah,
nightmares. Yeah.
yeah, I love that
You
one,
ever seen
man.
ABC? Like, Amy's Baking Company.
No, I
That
don't
episode.
remember.
She's dude. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says for this. Like, she is batshit crazy. That woman is crazy, man. It's funny. ABC, Amy's Baking Company. That's like one of my favorite kitchen nightmares.
No, one of my
Those.
favorites one was one lady. She was
Mm,
in a
mm.
hotel and she was crazy. She was not oblivious. She she knew the shit that was happening on the kitchen, but
Yeah.
she she thought that was okay. And I don't remember the names, nothing, but that was crazy to me. I couldn't believe she was saying that was okay. But anyway,
Mm. Dude, I can't wait, man. I can't, dude. I don't know. Seeing talking about this food is getting me excited for Vegas. We said that, but I remember I'll be going to Hell's Kitchen when
yeah,
I get there
yeah,
too.
we
I'm gonna
said
try
that.
that. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, it's probably not for my wallet, but
Hey, and that's the beautiful thing. Like by the time that you get there, though, you won't even have to break out your wallet. There'll be so many vendors who are like, "Hey, come to our dinner or whatever." But then on top of it, like UiPath, like dude, there's like every year they have so much food. Like the food, there's food. Like you're at the round table. It's like their lunches, right? There's
yeah.
food, and like the food is good.
How does it work, the round table?
Um, basically what's going to happen is they're going to it's just like you don't have to worry, it's not anything like where you're secluded. Generally it's just of some of the tables in the cafeteria area wherever they're serving the catering. They'll have certain tables that have like big flags, right? And they'll be like this company, that company, or they'll have the topics. And so like you can go and check into like the table. Come on, I'm watching. He's so hungry. Yeah, I know, dude.
This is
This is not. I think it's
I
Mo's fault. He started talking about Brazilian steakhouse, I think, or was it Joe? I don't know.
it
Yeah,
is I'm kind of curious who is this Vinicius, because I have a friend Vinicius in Brazil.
yeah, it might be. Check it out. See who it is.
I cannot see his picture. I would like to see his
He's
picture,
he's
bigger.
he's pixel peeking. No, I love him.
I cannot see his profile, so I would like to see who this Vinicius is. Vinicius, are you Brazilian?
I think he's. I remember. I believe he showed up when Vinny came through in our first
Vinny?
session. Yeah, I think he was. I showed. I don't know if he knows Vinny or not, or maybe I'm tripping. But I think first time I saw him. Get those gains. Yeah, I like it. I like it in the gym. My ass needs to get in the gym. I have been dieting since I'm going to be on the stage, Joe. I've been eating salads.
Really?
Yeah, for weeks now. I'm trying to get fit like you.
By the way, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about what we eat, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So that's Vinny, right?
it was the first episode with guests.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that was Vinny. And then you got me tripping when you said that. I thought that was good.
Oh, it's Vinny. It's Vinny himself.
He's tripping. Hey, it's small. I don't know about you, but like I have I'll even show. Like I got this. This is what I'm monitoring the stream with. I got like a little like thin like monitor. It's like a little 18-inch monitor. So I keep it like right below my face and kind of like looking there. Yeah. He's not good with names. He's not good with names like me.
It's so funny. I am saying, oh, I know a Vinicius in Brazil, so I want to see him. Oh, hey, stupid guy, it's me.
It's me. It's me. So, oh my God, Joe. Are you drinking the spirits or am I tonight? It's funny.
No, I'm drinking bubbly right now.
Oh, hey,
beers.
that's my dude. That is my new thing. I've transitioned to drinking soda water, and it's helped me cut back on the drinks too. But my wife gets bubbly, and I get the other fancy pants one, the one that's like the most common one with the green bottle. But she gets so mad because I'll grab those and I'll drink when I run out of mine. Like I'll drink those, and she'll come home, and then there won't be any, of her bubbly left.
By the way, I was about to say before we got deviated by Vinny. Uh,
You
uh,
got
a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about diet, right? And I told you,
yes.
no, after 7, my wife doesn't allow me to eat, and so on and so forth, right? Some funny jokes, and then I was talking to my wife, and she was, I cannot believe you said that.
Oh man, no, if I had $1 for every time that my wife said that, dude, I would be rich because I feel your pain, brother. I feel your pain. I do the same thing. I'm like, it's just a joke, you know. And it's like, yeah, it's so funny
Yeah,
that I can't even complain. I'm gonna keep,
yeah.
just so you know, too. I'm keeping these cans because I have already started working on our Bots and Beers season 2, trailer. So these
Well,
cans.
we have to figure it out when is going to end the first season. First of all, right?
Yeah,
That's the point.
yeah,
We have to discuss
yeah.
what are the plans for the future. But to
Mm-hmm.
be very honest, one thing that I thought, and I want to hear your thoughts. I
Okay.
thought, okay, the first season could be gone or could be done when we finish the
Good job. Good idea.
50 episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we made a commitment to 50 episodes.
Yep.
When we finish that commitment, we could finish season 1. What do you think?
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it if we carry it on. I have no issues. No issues. All I wanted to do, my whole thought with like sort of breaking it into seasons is it creates that opportunity for us to reflect, game plan, iterate, see if there's anything that we need to improve on or upgrade. So as long as we still maintain some sort, I'm sure we'll have a cycle. We can say 50 is our first season. It's fine with me.
Yeah,
Doesn't
we
bother
can
me.
break. We can have breaks, right? We can have
Mhm.
some
Like
end-year
mid-season. There we
vacation.
go. Mid-season.
Yeah,
Episodes, TV shows do that all the time. Like mid-season break, they'll do the first, 15 episodes and take a break. But yeah, no, I love
exactly.
it. It's gonna be. Plus, like I said, I had been working on plans for you and I to write a book with your friends. So we got to
Yeah,
work with him
David.
too, David. Yes, we got to
David.
work with
Yeah.
David to put this
Hopefully,
together.
hopefully by the end of the fifth. How do I say fifth? Anyway, you know what I mean. When we finish the 50 episode, someone is going to be talking about us and say, "Oh my God, someone to be doing 50 episodes, podcast. They must like it."
Yeah. No, that's so true. That's so true, dude. I like how you I like how you brought that back in too. That normal vape pen's killing me.
Yeah, you should quit that.
Yeah, I should. The vape pen cough. But anyway,
Yeah.
dude, what are we? How would you like to wrap this up? I can't even believe this. We were so hanging out. We were so in a vibe that we didn't even think to like talk about any crazy depth of automation, which I love it. We touched about on some real life shit. We touched
Well, we talk
on.
about MVP, right? So
Yeah. Oh,
that's
that's huge. That's huge.
that was
And I think
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, reiterate, maybe this, if I call it out one more time, it'll give us one extra bonus star, Joe, for our application. So
Exactly.
there you
Yeah.
go. So
Renewal.
So if you're listening to this now, or you're listening on Spotify, or you get a clip of this, apply to the MVP program. Don't worry about what you've done yet. Just apply, get your application in. Don't disqualify yourself. Let somebody else tell you no. So
Exactly. And my shout out or final thoughts, I would say, I
mhm.
would totally agree with you. Just go for it, right?
Yep.
One thing you already have for sure, the no, right? You already have the no. If
Oh,
you don't do anything,
deep.
you're going to keep the no, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you shake your ass around and you go for it, you may have a yes, and that may change your life. And one thing that I can tell for sure, uh, being an MVP opened. I wrote about that earlier today, yesterday, or no, earlier today. I don't know. Opened so many doors that I couldn't even imagine. One of them being this very podcast,
Mm.
right? Meeting you and
Yeah.
having this opportunity to do this podcast, that was because of the MVP. If it wasn't by the MVP, I wouldn't be here.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's for sure. Go for it. Apply if you have this ambition. If you want to do more, that's for sure for you. And my final shout out, just to be sure we make this very very clear. Jay, I hope I say this his name right. Pandey, Jay
Yep,
Pandey.
yep.
Man, you are the guy. You have my appreciation. You have my respect,
Yes.
because I'm just checking your LinkedIn profile, and I you are on chapter 131, Zero to Hero UI Path. So shout out for you, man. You are the guy.
No, I can't. You nailed it, dude. I'm not gonna add anything to that. I agree with you completely, Joe. And I'm gonna leave it at
Okay.
that. So
So be it.
so be it. So what was the quote that you put on the MVP thing? What was the Star Wars?
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way. Hey, I love it because I don't, again, not adding in just to validate your point. I think that's what we will want to leverage our platform for. We want to leverage. We want to call out interesting, cool things, and then things that we think that are just amazing. And I agree with you, Joe. Anybody who does that, if you have anything to say about that, do 100 episodes and then come talk to me.
Exactly.
So let me get him. Let me hit him with it. I love the clap. Let me get him with the theme music. Hey, Joe, it's been a pleasure, brother. It's turning out to be not only the best part of my week, but the worst part, because when I have to end this, it's like I'm back to the real world, man.
Exactly, man.
I'm so happy to be hanging out, brother.
The Thursdays are always the way that we long for, and man, as soon as we finish, I always start thinking, oh my god, 7 days to come again. So, yeah, that's for sure, man. Thank you very much.
Yep.
I enjoyed this.
Thank you so much. I did too, brother. And to Mo, to Vinny, thank you for showing up. Thank you for hanging out. We love it. We'll be back next week with a new guest. Check back. Later, y'all. Later. Oh, that's the wrong one. Main ending. Okay, thank you for showing up.